Oh, my friends, how I've missed you so. Hi, Shanna Rowe Jackson here from Caution Artist at Play. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be working with some Derwent Inktense. If you have hung around my channel for a while, you know that this is one of my favorite materials to work with. If you are new here and you're new to Derwent Inktense, basically these are watercolor pencils on steroids. Their vibrancy and color payout, along with the fact that they're a little bit more permanent than other watercolor pencils, gives them an ink-like consistency, and they're pretty intense. So that's where they get their name Inktense. They are fabulous, and I love working with them. I should mention, this video is not sponsored. It's just been a long time since I've worked with these, and they're one of my favorites, and so I wanted to get back to it. So today, I decided that I wanted to do a fun little exercise using basically primary colors and black and white, and I like to go with the cyan, magenta, yellow kind of color scheme when I'm working with primaries. So I picked out the colors that I thought were closest to that scheme from what I have of these pencils, which would be fuchsia, sun yellow, and iris blue. And then I also am using the ink black and the antique white. I might also come in with a white gel pen at some point, possibly. This isn't always as opaque as I would like. Their block tends to be more opaque than their pencil, but for the most part, you can do whatever you want. Like, you can achieve anything you want to achieve with just the pencils. They are a very versatile medium. So I'm going to just work in my sketchbook today and play around just because I've missed these so much. It's been a while since I've worked with them. I'm not going to do anything too extravagant. I'm thinking a fun little psychedelic mushroom. I want to be as colorful as I possibly can and play with these colors as much as possible. So stay tuned and let's see what I come up with. So I decided to start off with some swatches. Since I'm working with a limited color palette, I thought it would be a good idea just to lay the colors out, do a couple simple mixes with them just to see what I'm working with and get an idea of what mixtures I can use in my project. Plus, I thought it would be a fun companion page for the project itself in my sketchbook. I do label the mixes later on, I just don't end up doing it in this video. But you know, I started off with my magenta e-color, and then my yellow, and then my blue, and then black. And then I did a mix of each of the primaries together, and then a mix of each of them with black. The only thing I didn't swatch was the white. I thought it would be kind of pointless with the white paper. So you can kind of see the fun mixtures here. I wanted to see how they would each do individually with the black because I don't have any browns or anything like that. So I wanted to see if I could get some fun neutral colors out of it. And now I'm mixing them all together and it looks like crap, but that's fine because we need some dull colors to offset the very bright colors we're using. Then I just came in with a Bic mechanical pencil and lightly sketched out the mushroom. Today, I am going to be working from a reference photo that I took years ago in my yard at sunset of a cute little mushroom. I laid in some water first, and then I am using a Caran d'Ache palette, which has a smooth side and a rough side. The rough side is great for water media, like watercolor pencils and their Neocolor 2s. And so I'm using the rough side, and I'm just scribbling my pencils on there, and I'm lifting it like watercolor and bringing it over to my wet down page. I left a nice, fun, watery, like, jagged edge at the top because I just wanted it to be fun and playful. I am going to be very messy with this. I'm using techniques that I wouldn't necessarily normally use. As you can see, I have gone in with some pencil on the already wet paper. You can see that leaves a lot of darkness there. You can do this technique as long as you do it lightly. If you push too hard with your pencil on wet paper, it can damage the paper. But the colors will be much more vibrant, so keep that in mind. And you'll see that in different spots here. Again, I'm just being playful. I'm not going to be too precious about this. I want it to be colorful. I want it to be kind of psychedelic. The only thing that I wanted to worry about capturing was the kind of sunset look, and I do that within the shadows of the mushroom later on. But mostly, I'm just coming in and having a good time. I'm not even paying attention to the direction of my pencil strokes all the time, because they do wash out fairly well. Some of the pencil strokes I did go in the direction of grass, especially the ones up near, like beside the mushroom, but in the lower part, man, I was messy because I wanted it to be shadowy. And then I'm going to come in later and do glazes of color over that like mucky, blackish brown, like caca color that I just put in the bottom. And then the background, I wanted it to just be blurry and colorful. So you're going to see me come in with different dabs of color. I did a lot of glazes. So very, very thin and watery in the beginning. So not as vibrant as it normally would come out if I had less water, but perfect for glazing. And as you can see, the colors are mixing really well together. You can do a lot with primary colors. Obviously, primary colors make it like you can mix any color you want from the 3 primaries. And so that goes for any medium. But when you're working in a medium like Inktense, which is very versatile to begin with because you can work with it dry, you can work with it wet, and working with it wet makes it easier to mix colors. The possibilities are endless. When you work with a primary color scheme, you can get any color that you want. And when you work with any limited color palette, there are a bunch of benefits. Working with a limited color palette gives you the opportunity to practice color mixing. It also takes away some of the options for you, which can make making a piece less daunting. Sometimes when you have a lot of colors available to you, you can spend a lot of time trying to choose what colors you want and not as much time working on the piece. But when you work with a limited color palette with the primary colors, you have all the options available to you. And now, like, you're going to see there's different ways of mixing color. In this piece, I am doing a lot of mixing on the palette, but you'll also see me mixing on the piece itself. I'm also doing a lot of optical mixing where I am taking the primary colors and just putting them next to each other. When you step back from the piece, all these colors that are single colors kind of blend together to create the illusion of another color. So I have a lot of blues and yellows next to each other in this. And when you step back, you're going to see greens. And I also have a lot of the magenta and yellow next to each other. And that gives it the warmth, the underlying warmth and sunlight of the piece. I'm also glazing transparent colors over one another where the layers show through from below, mixing color that way. And so there are so many different options, and I think I pulled out all of them in this piece, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. It can be a challenge to work with a limited color palette, but when you kind of let it go and just experience it, you can learn a lot about color mixing and a lot about different techniques that allow you to, make your artwork more dynamic. And you can carry that over to when you are creating a piece with more colors, and it'll help you choose colors more wisely in the future when you are not working with a limited color palette. And of course, this is going to be just fun and playful, but you could do a realistic piece using just these 3 colors plus black and white if you want to. You don't necessarily even need to add black and white, but I am somebody who I like to work with black. I just typically like to mix it with other colors when I'm doing so, or layer colors over it. Now, something about Inktense, they are touted as being permanent, meaning you're not going to be able to lift them as easily, and the lower layers aren't going to move around. However, there's a bit of a trick you have to do to get them there. Really, they're permanent once you have washed them out completely with water. But if you still have some freestanding pigment that hasn't been washed out with water, or it hasn't been washed out completely, then you're still going to see some of those layers move around. They're just not going to move around as easily as other watercolor pencils. So you're not going to necessarily lift the layers below when you're trying to layer over them, which makes them perfect for layering and for glazing and for things like that. And that's one of my favorite things about them. And then, of course, when you have it in pencil form, you can add any amount of detail you want. Now, this is my first time using Inktense on this paper. This is my Jane Davenport art journal, and I wasn't sure how it would take it. It took it pretty well. I personally prefer to work on Inktense on an Arches hot press watercolor paper, and I also like to use them on the Strathmore 400 series mixed media paper. That handles it pretty well as well. So this paper can handle water, but not a ton. So you saw some puddling there, but I wasn't worried about that in this piece. It kind of added to the blurry, fun background. Now I'm coming in with some of my black and adding a little bit of shadow in the areas, and then I'll come through and kind of make it more of a colorful shadow after. And straightening up my edges a little bit, trying to just add more dimension to the mushroom. I had a lot of fun with this. It was such a great way to loosen up. Like I said, typically I work with a lot of realism, but when I'm in my sketchbook, I just want to play. Some of the stuff might come out realistic, but I'm just here to have a good time. And I just really missed my Inktense. It's been a hot minute since I've done Inktense on the channel. By the way, I have a full Inktense playlist on my channel. I have a video for beginners. I have all kinds of stuff. So you can learn more about how to use this medium that way. And of course, because it's a water media, I was able to splatter in the background, adding to that fun, playful, painterly look. And then just coming in with the pencils and adding some more details and shadows, straightening things up a bit. I want to start doing more Inktense on my channel again. If there is a subject you would like to see me cover, or if you have any questions specifically about Inktense, let me know, because I do want to start doing some more projects on my channel with them. I have been experimenting with a lot of other materials lately, and so that's why I hadn't had the chance to work with these in a while, but I definitely missed them and want to get back to it. And I know most of you like seeing my videos on Inktense as well. So let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about these pencils or the blocks. I also have a set of the pans now too, so I may incorporate those as well, though I do use the blocks as pans, so we'll just see. So let me know in the comments below what you would like to see in the future. But I do have a playlist, as I mentioned, so feel free to check out that playlist as well, because there could be some questions that I have answered in there already. Okay, so here is my final little sketchbook exercise where I only used the primary colors plus black and white, which I didn't use a lot of white, with the Inktense pencils. It is psychedelic and fun and colorful, and I had so much fun with it. And I had a lot of fun doing this kind of painterly edge, and definitely not my typical realism work, but I came here to have fun, and boy, did I have fun. And it still just goes to show that whether you're doing realism or something fun like this or illustration, Inktense are super versatile and so much fun. I missed them so much. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching me play in my sketchbook with some Inktense. I will see you next week where I will be possibly putting together a gouache palette with Holbein gouache. That's my plan right now. So hit subscribe, like this, get the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of the artistic fun. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week. You have a fantastic day. Bye.